Anger, frustration, outrage growing in Shanghai in China, a city of 25 million people, been locked up in their homes since the end of March as a surge in COVID cases led officials to impose these hard lockdowns under China's strict zero COVID policy. Residents there in need of food, medicine, other supplies, they're pushing back against the lockdown. I want to bring in CNN's David Culver live in Shanghai, and there's some sign that China's responding to this pushback, David.
Let's hope, John, at least in words. You know, you and I were talking more than 2.5 years ago, and the Wuhan lockdown at that time was really the most pressing issue. Well, if you think Wuhan 2020 was bad, welcome to Shanghai 2022. This has been like no other lockdown, and it's in the country's cosmopolitan and most affluent financial hub of all places. So this door behind me, this is my exit to the outside alleyway, and late last night I heard them taping up my door along with the doors of my neighbors. They're placing a paper seal so as to keep it closed. Some buildings with positive cases inside, well, they're locked shut from the outside. They're using bicycle locks and padlocks just to keep people in. The biggest issue has been, though, food shortages. It's really difficult to source food with stores closed and delivery drivers also locked down. So neighbors are now coming together to try and source directly from suppliers. We buy in bulk. There have been some government handouts, not enough, and that's led to residents who are under lockdown demanding supplies. We've seen all sorts of videos on social media as they're coming together, some in protest, because the food shortages here have worsened. Some shouting, "We're starving. We are starving." A Shanghai city leader choked up at a news conference over the weekend, apologizing to the city's more than 25 million residents for failing to meet expectations and promising improvements. Now, one thing to keep in mind, Beijing is now in charge. China's zero COVID policy is a directive straight from the top. President Xi Jinping himself wants this virus stomped out. A military mobilization is underway to make more than 100 makeshift hospitals. They've got capacity for up to 160,000 people. Sounds impressive. State media certainly portraying it as an orderly, sterile environment. But the reality from folks on the ground shows cramped and unsanitary conditions. So how does this end, and when? Well, officials, John, have announced today plans to begin lifting lockdowns on certain neighborhoods. But the thing is, not nearly enough neighborhoods are going to be lifted and folks freed to bring this city back to life really anytime soon.
David, before I let you go, just clarify. You're shut in? There's like a paper barrier keeping you from exiting, going to the food market where you are right now?
It's a piece of paper. Yeah, well, for one, the food market's not even open. The folks who work at the food market are also locked down. But yeah, I can't go outside that door. There's a seal. If I do, physically I could do it, but I would break the seal, and there's repercussions for that. You have to have a community worker escort you to pick up food deliveries, if you're lucky enough to get them, and to get the government distributions if they happen to come. It's bizarre.
What an odyssey, David. 2 years for you. Remarkable reporting. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thanks, John.
I want to bring in Dr. Aziz Shah.